Gentleman from Texas is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to thank my colleague from Texas for stating so eloquently what I and I believe everyone in this chamber agrees with, and that's that the TSA agent, the men and women who work for the American people at the airport, are protecting our nation. They're on the front lines, which is why I'm rising today to urge my colleagues to do something very simple, and that is to protect Americans from terrorists and dangerous criminals when they fly, and to assist the TSA by taking away a very dangerous policy that they have enacted from the top, that they're encouraging and forcing these agents on the front lines to deal with. And that policy is one of allowing illegal aliens onto commercial aircraft without proper identification. It was confirmed to me from the TSA administrator that migrants are allowed to use arrest warrants and warrants for deportation to board flights alongside everyday travelers. This was confirmed to me before Christmas last year. And despite my demands and those of many of my colleagues, the Biden administration has done nothing to stop this. Anyone in this country illegally or with a warrant for arrest should be detained and brought before a judge, not permitted to travel to the city of their choice. This should be a common sense request. I will remind my colleagues that the TSA was created in response to the September 11th attacks, but it seems as if we've forgotten that. The lax policies by the TSA that allow unvetted aliens to board flights without identification present a serious national security threat each and every day, and it jeopardizes the lives of the American people. My constituents, and I would venture to argue that those of my colleagues, perhaps some of my open border friends across the aisle, would agree that our constituents deserve to fly in a safe aircraft. My constituents have to pull out an ID to board a flight. But this TSA has said that if you have an arrest warrant, that's good enough to get through security. I think that's crazy, and I think the American people do as well. I've introduced this motion to recommit to protect our skies, verify the identity of travelers, and notify law enforcement if someone is in our country illegally. There is zero excuse to delay when the ongoing border crisis is putting every single community in our nation at risk. In just 10 months, the Biden administration allowed over 45,000 non-citizens to fly without an ID, nearly 160 passengers each and every day. We also know this administration is allowing people on the terrorist watch list into our country, and we have no clue who is boarding these flights. I urge my colleagues to protect our airways and prevent another tragedy like 9/11 from occurring by adopting this motion. Mr. Speaker, if we adopt the motion to recommit, we will instruct the Committee on Homeland Security to consider my amendment to H.R. 903 to prohibit the TSA from accepting documents such as an arrest warrant or notice to appear as a valid form of identification. I ask unanimous consent to insert the text of the amendment in the record immediately prior to the vote on the motion to recommit.
Without objection.
I yield back the balance of my time.